Good morning. Today I want to talk about India's military options in Ladakh. All the retired generals speaking at various fora, they have spoken about a range of military options which are available to India, which include a tit for tat strategy, a limited escalatory response. Then they are sitting and doing bean counting of the assets of the two sides, the two armies and the two air forces. Then some of them are saying that actually China and PLA do not have capability or the will for a full-fledged war. They are all wrong. The reality is that today India has no military options at all available to it. What is worse, 10 years or even 20 years down the line, it will have no military options available to it against the PLA if the thinking of the present CDS, General Rawat, prevails. I will explain this a little later. Talking of the full-fledged war, today they have a capability for a full-fledged war which involves a decisive capitulation of the Indian political and military leadership without spilling the blood of their own soldiers, without joining a contact war. They can do all this. But I will discuss this a little later. A few basics first. The few basics most of us would know that a war is fought at three levels. The topmost level is what is called the strategic level of war. Now at this level, the political leadership gives out the political objectives to the military leadership and it supports the military leadership fully and meaningfully. The second level is what is called the operational level of war. Now this is that decisive level of war where the military leadership, having got the political objectives, translates that into meaningful military aims. This level of war is where a war is won or it is lost. This is the campaign level of war. So if we will not understand PLA's campaign level of war, we can never get it right. Today, as far as PLA is concerned, at this operational level of war, they have a battle space. A battle space which has 6 war domains or 6 war battlefields. 3 are in the physical world and 3 are in the virtual world. In the physical world, they have the land, sea and air. In the virtual world, they have space, cyber and electromagnetic spectrum. What I'm saying is that actually for them, the war finishes insofar as the adversary like India is concerned at this level of war. They have no business to go down to the third level of war, which is the lowest level of war, which is called tactics. Tactics is where the contact happens with the enemy. On the other side, insofar as Indian military is concerned, the entire focus is on tactics. It is tactics which is thought to be the operational level of war. It is believed, first of all, only 2 battlefields are recognized. I'm talking of this land battle. We only recognize the land and the air, these 2 domains. And all war planning, everything is done at the lowest level, which is basically the contact level of war, tactics. As I said, the PLA has no business to come down here because it can win the war without coming to the tactics at the operational level of war. So there is a complete dissonance. I will explain this later. There's a complete dissonance where the Indian military wants to fight on the land, the PLA is not available. On the other hand, what will the PLA do? What the PLA will do is, it has a capability for information dominance. And because of information dominance, it can do total information denial. Let me explain information denial. The Prime Minister is talking, I'm talking of the highest level. The Prime Minister is talking to the Defense MOD the CDS and the chiefs. They in turn are talking to the formation commanders, and the formation commanders down are talking to the frontline soldiers. So this is all communication. The communications are important. Command and control is important. If all this is denied, if the communications are denied, command and control is denied, how exactly do you fight a war? So this is called information denial. And I will explain how after their 2015 reform, they created the organizations for this. I will not talk their reforms in detail. I will just stick myself to the present situation where I am talking of that they don't have to get into a contact war, because contact war is about occupation of territory. They don't want to do that at this stage. So what they have is, at the highest level organization, is what is called the Joint Staff Department. Now this is a tri-service organization. What it does is, it creates the seamless transition of the conventional war to the next nuclear level, but this is not relevant to our discussion. Then second, it has the operational command center. This is important, because when the chairman CMC, Xi Jinping, when he walks in case of a crisis or a war, in the operational command center, he dons another hat and he becomes the commander-in-chief. In a very unique thing to the PLA, Xi Jinping will both be the topmost strategic commander and the operational commander, because sitting there he is getting advice from the head of the Joint Staff Department, who in turn is monitoring the situation through three organizations. What are those three organizations which will actually fight this war I am talking of? The information dominance and information denial to the Indian military. So the first of them is the one which will fight. This is all non-contact war. No contact with the enemy. So one organization will fight, deny information in the non-kinetic domain. Non-kinetic means basically that firing is not done. So in the non-kinetic domain, it will deny information. And whatever is left, the other organization will deny information in the kinetic domain by actually using the payloads by the warheads. So in other words, between the two of them, these two organizations, they can control and dominate, because India doesn't have that capability of controlling the electromagnetic spectrum where all this happens, the communications happen. So they will, between them, it will be a double assault, a kinetic assault and a non-kinetic assault. So for the non-kinetic assault, the organization is called the Strategic Support Force. It's a new organization created after the reforms. What it has under is cyberspace electronic warfare and the capability for electromagnetic spectrum management. What this means is cyber. Let's take cyber. I've explained in one of my earlier videos that this is a whole of nation attack without any preparations, where the PLA today has a capability, because they have been honing their skills in this area for the last 20 years. Right till the unit level, they have cyber warriors. They have a capability for cyber attacks, cyber offensive and cyber war. They can create the cyber weapons. They can shut down the nuclear plants, our civil plants. They can shut down our banks. They can shut down anything concerning power grids, anything concerning communication grids, the defense grids. This is cyber. It's all consuming. Then talking of the battlefield, this will work along with the electronic warfare. And it will work along with the space capability that they have, non-kinetic capabilities. A capability which is not what we talk, we went gaga over that direct ascent ASAT weapon. That is a kinetic capability. They in any case have that capability. But besides that, within space, they have their assets, the micro satellites for one, which can actually displace our orbits from their tracks, from the orbit, the satellites from the orbit, and completely disrupt or destroy the communications. So you see, this is that non-kinetic capability they have, and they've been practicing about it, exercising it for the last 3 years now, since it came into being. Now, insofar as the kinetic capability is concerned, what they have is a plethora, an amazing range of cruise missiles. It is called the Rocket Force. It is called the PLA Rocket Force, the organization. So what they will do is, they will also do the same. They will assault, they'll do systems destruction, like strategic support force will do, but they will do in a kinetic way. They will shut down the command and control systems. They will assault the command centers. They will destroy the airfields, all without contact. They can do that. Then they have drones, very powerful drones, high altitude drones with electronic warfare capabilities. Any radar that opens up, they can silence the radar with that capability. So you see, this is between the strategic support force and the rocket force. They can do total information denial of Indian capability for the simple reason that this is something I would not like to spell on in the video here, but they are so meager that they are not even worth mentioning today. Then, along with that, of course, the Western Theatre Command will be active. The CNC Western Theatre Command will be active, and his main job will be two. One, to provide real-time situation awareness, what's happening in the theatre, to the Joint Staff Department, where Xi Jinping as the Commander-in-Chief will be sitting. And his second job will be to control this entire, the kinetic and the non-kinetic battle going on. So you see, between them, these three organizations headed by the Strategic Support Division, this is the capability the PLA has today, which nobody seems to be understanding, for the simple reason why they don't understand is because our generals, as I said, they have basically been focused all their lives on Pakistan. Unfortunately, they still think that PLA is Pakistan Army. No, it isn't. Pakistan military they replicate one another, the battlefield tactics and the doctrines. They both think that actually the land component of the war is very important. And they both think that actually at the land component of the war, the battlefield, you have all the tactical, the operational and the strategic level of wars. This is not the war any longer, as I said. So this is the reason why our generals, our retired generals, keep talking of that we can get, if they take land here, we take land there. But this is not the way they'll play the game. Now, I also made a remark about General Rawat, if his thinking prevails. See, I want to emphasize on this because this is absolutely detrimental to India's national security and our territorial integrity. And I'll give you 5 reasons, 5 hard reasons why he has got the entire war wrong. My first reason is General Rawat speaks about a hybrid war. What happens in a hybrid war is anything and everything is included in that. Sub-conventional, proxy, propaganda, cyber, conventional, it's all part of that. They're all tactical sort of pieces. You put a mosaic in the mosaic of hybrid war. The problem here is that the conventional war merely becomes one of the other pieces of the mosaic. This is the problem. So, which is precisely what he has been doing. He is an expert in CIOps, which is tactics. He simply doesn't understand the operational level of war, and certainly not the one which is being run by the PLA. So first of all, the conventional war level is downgraded in his thinking of hybrid war. Second is, I said he doesn't understand the battle space concept at the operational level of the PLA. He doesn't understand that there are 6 domains of war. If he understood that, he is today, as the CDS, responsible for command and control of both space and cyber. Instead of trying to create the structures that he is doing, he would be bringing these up. This is the organization, if you have to pit it against the PLA, that has to get the prominence and the top priority. Put your money there, put your effort there. It is not being done. My third reason is, in his thinking, everything is army-led. This is wrong. As I said, in the PLA thinking, and this is the thinking of any professional army. When I say professional, what I mean is the major countries. I'm talking of US. They think the same way. All domains are equal. There is nothing called the army or the air force or the navy for a particular theater. See, what can be done is that of the 6 domains, this is the generalship all about. What is generalship? The art of war. It is all about that for a particular encounter, for a particular theater, for a particular mission, what is it that you pick out amongst these 6 domains? So when you say that I want the future of the Indian military is network-centric warfare, this is what is said, which is army-led, you get everything wrong. It cannot be army-led. If it is army-led, then obviously you don't understand the domains of war. That's my third reason. My fourth reason is, he actually doesn't understand between the network-centric war. You see, this network-centric war is of 2 types. Let me explain. There is one which is called the network-centric war, which is what the Americans follow. This has a positivity about it. This is about a sensor-shooter loop. This is about how we can hasten up, or how we can improve, how we can lessen the time, how we can make this loop faster, so that we get into the command loop of the enemy. Our reactions are faster. This is called the network-centric warfare. But this is not what the PLA has in mind. PLA calls the same network-centric warfare, they call it informationized warfare. Why? Because for them, the be-all and end-all of a war is information. They believe that if dominance of any kind, even if it is a limited dominance on the electromagnetic spectrum, communications, if they can achieve. See, this is the asymmetrical way of thinking. Because they could not create, they did not have the technology of the Americans to create a network-centric warfare. They thought of the information warfare. This is what they call it. So the whole thinking is a negative thinking, actually, that you either dominate, you try and dominate it so that you deny to the adversary. So we have to choose that first before we start putting the money and we start thinking about what sort of organizations we want. And in any case, coming to my last and the most important point, which is simply, and most of the and everybody here, I'm sorry to say, they do not understand that the future of war is the algorithm war. If they understood anything about the algorithm war, they would realize that what they keep discussing, the theater commands, they keep discussing that we need a theater command, so many commands, it won't be required in that war. That war will be a transformational war with an entirely different character. So you see, this is why I said that if his thinking prevails, 10, 20 years down the line, we are headed for a disaster. We will never have the military options against the PLA, and this is the reality. Now, coming to the present, what has the PLA achieved? By their successful military coercion, they have managed to manage a capitulation of India's political leadership, of India's political will to fight without firing a shot. What this means is that today they are in a position where they have already changed the facts on the ground. They have created the permanent bunkers 3 to 4 feet where they wanted to come. Galwan Valley was critical, as I explained in my last video to them. They've changed the facts. Now if they go back, what is their priority? Their priority was, number one, change the facts on the ground, because they wanted to ensure good interoperability, less availability of Indian reinforcements. Obviously, what they have is Siachen in mind. What they have in mind is that Siachen, with the interoperability between PLA and the Pakistan military, which I have explained details in my last video. So, having changed the facts on the ground, what they want, as I said in my earlier video also, they are basically interested in the strategic results. So now they want the talks to succeed. For the talks to succeed, they are quite happy to give leeway, having created the facts on the ground, which they, because the Indian military, if they got coerced, such a big military, fourth largest military in the world, if we got coerced by the PLA, certainly we will not have the gumption to go and dismantle those permanent structures that they have created. So now they are quite happy, as the report from unnamed sources, I mean nobody is coming on record here. So they are saying that both sides now are happy to come 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers behind, and at some stage they will even take their tanks and the guns and the aircraft which are in the rear. I mean, what is the big deal? Perhaps it is a big deal for us because we have taken the reinforcements from one front to the other front. For them, they are sitting in their habitat there on the Tibet Autonomous Region. So what is the big deal? The big deal is the structure, the facts that they've changed. So we are now, what we are doing is we are creating a fake narrative where everybody has been involved, the analyst, the favored journalist, they're all creating a sense, and the PLA is quite happy to help in this, that look, we've also withdrawn, because they want the talks to succeed. I've already explained in my last video, they have certain objectives which they want to accomplish. So they're quite happy to now give a bit of a leeway and play the game to ensure that Prime Minister Modi, he can end the standoff in a successful way. But this is not what, see, we have to get the right lesson, and the right lesson is, which is what I keep saying in the last 2-3 videos. I've just given you 5 reasons why General Rawat is wrong. General Rawat is, though he has the same rank, his stature is much higher. There is no way that the 3 chiefs have complete operational control, which they are supposed to have. They don't have that. So this general has to be eased out if we don't want a disaster at the hands of Chinese and the PLA, because it's the writing on the wall. Thank you very much. There's another appeal I want to make, as I keep making in my videos, that if you like the video and the content, I would really appreciate if you subscribe to the video. It's free. It just helps me to reach a larger viewership. Thank you so much.